Welcome back to the Papa Meat channel. How you doing? How you doing? Coming in and sitting down because today we're talking about cults. You know, cults are a reoccurring theme on this channel. I love talking about them. Like Linda at Profundity Yours, or even the cult of Costco, or even I would say Disney adults. They're all cults. But this time we're looking at a cult that's a bit more devious. Dare I say a bit more delicious. We're of course talking about the Yellow Deli cult. This is a cult that completely operates and is ran out of, you guessed it, a deli to basically fund their communal lifestyle, their habits. It's a big deli. It's a big deli family, but they're a cult. Like Subway. Subway cult?
Was Jared the leader?
Jared's doing something. They've been talked about and infiltrated by various content creators on YouTube because of the mistreatment of their members, borderline slavery,
slave workers too.
Did he really just tell me that they're slave workers?
And child abuse, which isn't really a cult if there's not child abuse, dude. And with all this recent media exposure, I thought now would be a better time than any to talk about him. Because today we're going to be taking a look at the 12 tribes, aka the Yellow Deli. But the real cult name is the 12 tribes, but they're known for the Yellow Deli. The 12 tribes is a Christian fundamentalist communal group that was founded in 1972 by 35-year-old Albert Eugene Spriggs in Chattanooga, Tennessee. After experiencing a life-changing event, Eugene confessed the sinfulness of his past and dedicated his life to Christ.
I want to know what happened.
Eugene doesn't even want to talk about it. He's like, I'm squared away with the big guy upstairs. That's all you need to know about. Like, what'd you do, though? Squared away with the big guy upstairs. All you need to know about. Though he was soon disillusioned with modern Christianity and the ever-growing counterculture movement during that time. Seeking a return to authentic faith, Eugene wanted to create a community that embodied the values of the early first-century Christian church as depicted in the book of Acts. He got pretty Puritan pretty fast, right? He's just like, they had it right hundreds and hundreds of years ago. Why are we singing songs with guitars now? Go back. That's when he decided to, A, change his name to Yonek, the Anointed One. Sounds like a Magic the Gathering card. Then he also decided to, B, open up a sandwich shop called the Yellow Deli. And then he created the Vine Christian Community Church, which later became the Northeast Kingdom Community Church, which then later became what we know as the 12 Tribes Church. He got there, dude. The 12 Tribes thing was always there. He's like, I am Yonek, the chief of this tribe. And then after a while, he's just like, well, let's ease people into the water a bit. I just told him my name's Yonek. The group was a blend of Eugene's personal beliefs with elements of both Christianity and Judaism mixed together. I thought that was just Christianity anyways. Give me a little more of that, okay? This included shared possessions, communal living, and daily worship. It's a nice little witch's brew, a nice little concoction, starting a cult. You have a great car. You know, God wants us to share the car. Like, well, you got your Toyota. He's like, yeah, you got the Mercedes. And technically, my Toyota is yours, so that's technically mine. Also, we're all gonna sleep together. We're gonna be fucking together. I got the daily worship thing, too. And we're gonna worship daily. Everyone's like, can we not get a day off, dude? Their number one goal is to spread their influence around the world in an attempt to bring the second coming of Yahshua or Jesus. Sounds like kind of like another Yonek. A guy named Joshua is like, I'm Yahshua now. More importantly, it's the apocalypse!
Today's video is sponsored by Fume, the leaders in flavored air.
I got my share of bad habits, and
don't tell me, I'm sure you've got yours. And when it's time to quit, I use Fume. Fume is an award-winning flavored air device that helps you fill the void when you're ditching a bad habit. And the best part is, Fume's not a vape! There's no vapor, allowing you to use it anywhere. Plus, there's no nicotine, no toxic flavors, and no batteries involved. And Fume is meant to fidget with. With satisfying snaps and clicks, Fume is there to calm you down when you're feeling anxious. I found that Fume is super easy to use, and some of the best flavors are orange vanilla, and crisp mint. Fume has served over 300,000 customers, and you can be the next success story. For a limited time, use my code PAPAMADE to get your free topper. It's a perfect accessory for your Fume device. Slip it onto your mouthpiece for a softer, warmer feel. Head to tryfume.com, that's tryfum.com, and use code PAPAMADE, or scan the QR code on screen to get your free Fume topper when you order your journey pack today. Thank you to Fume for sponsoring this video, and back to the video.
They want to bring the apocalypse. Why do people want to do that? In religious cult and religious groups, why would you pray for everything to end? I get you get to go to heaven, and it's like salvation, and all the people who were like, you suck. It's like a bully or whatever. He's like, and then they die, and I get to go up here, and it's awesome.
It's almost being like, I'm better than everyone else when this happened.
I believed in this. My faith was right. You were wrong. you. That's why people want the apocalypse. Also, in the apocalypse, do they die too, or is it kind of like a little tractor beam that sucks them
Tractor
out?
beam.
Like this is the end, whatever. In order to do this, they have spent several decades appealing to youth and enticing them to take an interest in joining their community so that they can restore the 12 tribes of Israel as prophesied in the Bible. You restore the tribes, you're probably seeing some kind of sea shanty of something, and then Jesus will return and f***ing Death Star laser the planet. I also like how they're just like, that's the only way to go to heaven. You gotta blow up the planet. It's all gonna be gone. All life has to cease. Hell on earth. Their most successful method of recruitment is through the creation of the Yellow Deli, which has become a worldwide establishment with over 30 locations that are often planted near group churches. Dude, they really capitalized on America's obesity. Like, kids love sandwiches. Cold cuts and chips. We'll give it to them. Originally, the Yellow Deli was intended to be a refuge for runaways and hitchhikers, but soon became one of the main ways the 12 tribes began funding their operations, as well as provide a nice and welcoming environment to potential new members. So it was the 70s where it was just post-hippie, still some runaway people. We got the Dahmer thing. The Dahmer got some people. Ate them up.
They would purposely look for people who, like any cult, who are down on their luck.
Basically, the Yellow Deli was a little hippie food store where they're just like, we don't care. Your dad died? Come on in, have a sandwich. Talk to us about it. You addicted to weed? Because it's the 70s? Come on in. Those that are employed at the Yellow Deli or any of their other businesses are not paid for their work. They are volunteering all of their time. So if you see somebody working the Yellow Deli or any of the 12 tribes businesses, there's no check. This is communal living, baby. You're paying for your place on the farm. Is there a farm? There's got to be a farm. Of course, there's a f***ing farm.
Look almost Amish.
There's a bunch of farms. All Amish you see on the road are just like f***ing Yellow Deli. In return, they are given a communal living space and resources. The little caveat is you just have to work for 16 hours a day. Not a bad deal, and then you immediately get to sleep for 8 hours. That's pretty fair. 16 hours on, 8 hours off. As soon as you clock out, you just crawl immediately into bed and you restart it the next day. I think that's fair. On the surface, the 12 tribes just seem like a bunch of hippies living on a commune, making sandwiches and praying for the end times to come. They just want hell on earth so they can be sent to the great castle above. But if we dig a little deeper, we start to see why the 12 tribes has been classified as a cult. Not just a fun religious movement, Nick. But just like any good cult, you need a charismatic leader. Not only do you have to have charisma, but they also often lead with total control, which Eugene fits the bill. I'm disgusted you used his dead name.
Yonek, sorry.
Yeah. Yonek. What's his name? Since the 12 tribes believes in Christian fundamentalism, this means that they must adhere to strict and literal interpretation of the Christian Bible with some Judeo influence, such as strict rules for women covering head to toe during prayer to hide any skin. Or how Proverbs 13:24 says, "He who spares the rod hates his son, but he who loves him is diligent to discipline him." Thus, they practice physical discipline using a thin rod deemed, quote, the rod of authority, to spank their children.
From 6 months old on, they beat the children with little sticks. And anybody can beat anybody's child.
They also follow the book of Revelations, and their mission is to gather the 12 biblical tribes and produce an army of 144,000 male virgins who would set the stage for Christ's second coming.
They believe if they recruit 144,000 virgins, that all the virgins are going to get sacrificed, so Yeshua, their leader, will come back.
And over time as the cult grew, Eugene started to implement more and more strict rules upon his followers, which often pressured his disciples to follow blindly in order to avoid being ostracized from their sacred community. According to some members, this extended to how much toilet paper could be used, and even the shapes of people's glasses. So here's a breakdown of some of the rules and belief system that is in 12 tribes. The very first thing you must do upon entering the cult is to abandon your name and adopt a Hebrew name. This signifies a spiritual rebirth and connection to early Israelites. The next thing you have to do is give up all your possessions before entering the community. This makes members more dependent on the group, thus making it harder to leave. I bet you anything too, it's like you have to give up all your possessions. He's like, just put it in the storage container I have downtown. Really, it's not a big deal. You can keep it there. He just sells everything. Once a member, you must prove yourself a person chosen by God, and that the ultimate goal is to bring about the second coming of Jesus. That means members need to follow the teachings perfectly from a young age so that they can be saved when God comes down and destroys the earth in the end times, like Galactus or another kind of large entity, maybe Frieza. What if Jesus came down? He was like floated above the earth, and he's like, which also means children are expected to be perfect embodiment of the 12 tribes, which has resulted in a lot of child abuse. A lot. When I'm saying that there's a lot of child abuse, this is your warning. You can't go back from here, okay? This is not a two-way road. There's not a little U-turn. This is a one-way. A lot of child abuse happening. Do you remember the rod of authority? Well, that is a sacred item in every house within the 12 tribes community. If you're in the 12 tribes, you got a rod of authority. Yonek also forces isolation from society. Because followers of the 12 tribes work and live together every day, it was very easy to create dependency on following the rules and staying in good standing with the rest of the group. The 12 tribes pushed their members to cut off from the outside world. Yonek would give sermons and encourage people to only communicate to those inside the community, as everybody else was not to be trusted.
It's an evil world, and our Father has saved us out from this wicked and perverse, this miscreant generation. And here we are in a secure, wonderful place where we can raise our children in peace.
Typical cult shit. I have a friend at the bank. Oh, Hey, I wouldn't talk to him. This is extended to doctors as well, as the 12 tribes have rejected modern medicine and technology in general. Instead, members were told that their ailments would be healed on their own depending on the strength of their faith, which coincidentally has caused a lot of stillbirths within the community. That's odd. Does this seem like a bit of a coincidence, maybe?
You're not praying hard enough.
And the guy's like, I feel like my stomach, I have real bad pains. Someone doesn't believe harder. It's like his appendix fucking ruptured inside of his body. He's like blacked out. Pray! Without outside influence or media access, the 12 tribes are able to exist within its own tight bubble of society. An exit of the community is purposely made to be terrifying as the 12 tribes state that anyone who leaves the group will die. Now that you're in, if you leave, you're dead. Like, from are you gonna kill us, or is it gonna be from natural causes? You'll die. Ex-members have even said that their lack of education and critical thinking skills have made the real world almost impossible to adjust to. Which you see that a lot in all these different cults too, because they've only been taught this one thing. They don't have really any college experience. It's not that cult members are dumb. That's not the case. It's just that you're deprived of actual information that is useful to exist in a normal society. Normal.
Yeah, they also take all your assets, so you're just like, you can't live.
Well, yeah, you take all of your assets, you can't live, then you have to get like maybe a job, it's harder to get on your feet again, and then it's just, it's a slippery slope. If Yonek said that to me, and he's like polishing a deer rifle, you'll be dead. This would be me the rest of my fucking life, dude. Aside from daily worship, time is spent working at the cafe, farming, and doing what they can to keep their community sustainable. There is no television and no way to read the news, likely because it would influence members too much. You gotta cut that info out, dude. If you're running a cult, you gotta be hard running a cult now. Man, well, I wouldn't give to go back when you didn't have phones and shit.
That's what Yonek was saying. Man, it was way easier in the 70s.
That is what Yonek's saying. He's just like, I'm building a time machine. It's like, Yonek, it can't be possible. He's like, death to you! In order to entertain themselves, they sometimes play music and dance. Wasn't that video fun? We're having a great time. Another big part of the 12 tribes is marriage, as raising children in the community allows them to easily expand their numbers. I mean, after all, we are looking for 144,000 male virgins. That'd be kind of a bummer too. You got a son, you're just like, you're not getting any pussy, dude. I'm sorry, big man. And of course, the children are homeschooled to avoid any outside influence from the non-believers as well. Don't even talk to me as if I'm going to send my little beautiful male virgin angel to a normal school where he's going to get corrupted by all those baddies, dude. Not only do the beliefs, clothing, and lifestyle feel absurdly dated, but the rules on courting are as well. In fact, dating and marriage in the 12 tribes is a grueling process. First, you must explain your desire to the council of elders. Imagine telling everybody. Imagine going up and you're like, everybody listen, I'm horny for Mary. There's no real way to get around it. I want to be with her. I want us to be one, if you know what I'm saying. What do you guys say? And you have to wait for the council's approval. You now enter the quote-unquote waiting period, where another member of the community investigates the interests of the other person and if the desire is mutual. So now the council basically goes up and they're like, knock, knock, Mary. Hey, you know David? Yeah? He is like bricked up and ready to go. Are you gooed up? How are you feeling? You swamp fever down there? She's like, I don't really like him. He's like, perfect. We'll send him by here in like 4 or 5 hours. If the council approves, the courting members are allowed to speak in public areas for a month before they are allowed to go on walks without holding hands. You can speak in public areas, which is kind of saucy. You know, you can go on walks by yourself, but god damn it, you do not hold each other's hands. I bet you those conversations are smutty. You know what I mean? He's like, I'm gonna spit all over it. I want you to do whatever you want with those big hands. Kind of makes me kind of wish I would do that, dude. That'd be kind of sick. Hold out for a while. You have no idea. I'm Paul Bunyan and you're a piece of wood. I'm about ready to slice you open. A month after that, they may continue their walks while holding hands, but only if there is a chaperone accompanying them. Imagine being all horny, walking around all bricked up, and you have a guy like shadowing you. You both look cute together. Thank you, Pastor. You have a huge fucking rock arm boner. After their wedding day, they may kiss one another and consummate the marriage, aka they can. A 12 Tribes wedding includes a, quote, pre-enactment of what will happen when Jesus returns to Earth during the second coming. This is kind of creepy, okay? Because they're talking about hellfire on Earth. They're talking about how they're basically going to hold hands and die together. Real fun stuff. Then once you get married, it's time to start having those kids. We need the 144,000 guys, please. Everyone who has a little baby girl, you're going to get without food for several weeks. You're going to have to work at the Yellow Deli for 42 hours straight. No sleep, and you cannot have any of the delicious food that we serve there. Thank you. And it cannot be understated how important it is to have corporal punishment in the 12 Tribes cult. They have created extensive guides on child rearing that are hundreds of pages long. Hundreds for child rearing. Former members have stated that children were allowed to be beaten several times per day, whatever it took to instill obedience. Sometimes you just have to beat somebody all day. Sometimes you just have to kind of pop in, pop out, give them a beating here, beating there, just to where they're emotionally and psychologically just kind of, void obedience. I love you, God. And what's crazy is that children are frequently disciplined, even for something as simple as forgetting to raise your hand to excuse yourself from a dinner table would result in a spanking. I can agree with that one. I'm not going to fault him on that one. I say, raise your hand, be courteous. This is not an act exclusive to parents either. Any member of the tribe can beat any child if they feel they are being disobedient. You think that you're going to beat your own kids? No! Listen, everybody gets rod of authority for a reason. I bet you they carry those motherfuckers around too, because guess what? Sometimes you got to just beat a kid. Or being disobedient. Did a kid walk in front of you? Time to pull out that rod. There's even mention of spanking for children as young as 6 months old, stating that use of the rod can teach them to sit still while being changed. Beating a 6-month-old baby will teach them to be still because babies' brains work like that. God, I can't wait for the apocalypse. Oh, I can't wait for the apocalypse. Stop moving! As a child, you cannot even play pretend without receiving a beating. According to a former member, this is seen as entering the unseen realm, which indicates you are being influenced by Satan. You want to play as Iron Man? You're talking to Satan. You deserve to be beaten. One ex-member told reporters that his childhood was hell. He would be beaten bloody until he was on the verge of collapsing. He stated that his only goal as a child was to stay alive till the next day. My God. Another member stated that she would be beaten sometimes for up to 4 hours, and then she had known other members for being beaten for 8 hours straight.
Do you hit children with bamboo rods?
We are always gentle with our children.
How do you have that much time on your hands? Exactly. You're making cold cut sandwiches, and all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna take a quick 8-hour break and beat the shit out of my kid. And not only are the children physically abused, but they are often manipulated emotionally to break down their self-esteem and gaslight them into thinking that there's no hope for them outside the 12 Tribes community. Just cute, cold shit. This has been a problem dating all the way back to 1984 when police raided their compound over rumors of child abuse. The police did raid, they took all the kids, and then they had to give back all the children to the abusive 12 Tribes community because it was like an unlawful raid. Now we're gonna go into their controversies. That's weird, they have controversies, right? And let me tell you, the list of controversies goes on and on and on and on and on. Which, rampant misogyny. They believe that women should be 100% subservient to men. The rules are reduced to bearing children and physically disciplining them. Advocation of slavery. My boy Yonek believed that the Bible sanctions the act of slavery, meaning it is completely acceptable. He is quoted of saying this, quote, and I quote, this is a quote, "Slavery is the only way for some people to be useful in society." My boy Yonek is playing with some fire, for real. Oh God, do I have to read this? The quote! Quote, this is a direct quote from Yonek's teachings. "It is horrible that someone would rise up to abolish slavery. What a marvelous opportunity that blacks could be brought over here to be slaves so that they could be found worthy of the nations." Yonek was not a fan of MLK. Let's just say that. Yonek, if you haven't noticed by now, not the greatest guy. Dare I say, not a good guy. I mean, there's anti-Semitism in the 12 tribes, and then they're known for being very anti-Semitic based on their belief that Jews murdered Christ. That's odd. That's crazy. The white nationalist cult that runs a yellow deli they don't like Jews very much. Okay. Even child labor. An Inside Edition hidden camera investigation revealed that child labor laws were being violated. In one instance, 12 minors were working in factories and farms. We got to get those 16 hours in somehow, dude. We got to get it, man. You know how much ham we have to cut for all of our locations? We cut a lot of ham. And more child abuse. In 2013, RTL journalist Wolfram Koenig infiltrated the German commune in Bavaria. During his short time there, he recorded 50 beatings and presented the footage in a film documenting the experience. Because of this, German police raided 2 separate communities and removed 40 children in order to prevent further child abuse. They were temporarily put in foster homes. What's crazy about the 12 tribes things, always how these cults somehow make themselves worldwide somehow. How the f do they get all the way over there, dude?
They're Deli.
They're a deli. It's easy. Just be like, we're a delicious deli. I don't know. How's your day going, by the way? Well, I don't know. My mom's really sick. You know, we have like a group that talks. You know, you get sucked in that easy. One of the weirdest forms of recruitment was during the Grateful Dead tour during the 80s. They had a crazy, not gonna lie, okay, I hate to say it, but the bus is really cool. I have never heard of this. It seems like they have a shit ton of money. They don't pay any of their delis, and they probably charge it's like a art house. It's like, you know, do an art district. It's like none of your art friends or like any of your cool friends like, I don't want to go to Red Robin. I want to go to someplace local. And then they upcharge the out of you, and you're like, that was pretty mediocre. Oh, it's good stuff, man. That's how they get the people in.
They also have a factory where they sell like packaged goods.
Of course they have a factory.
We don't use children in our factories. We don't have factories.
We have videotape of it, sir. Yes, you do. You have a factory right over here. It's a soap factory. And aren't you selling your soaps and lotions to major retailers? Are they aware that you're using child labor?
We don't use child labor.
Child labor, dude. If you're a cult already and you're like, we're doing illegal shit already, get the factory and put the kids in there. Why not? You got to. That's just good business. The 12 tribes modified a stylish bus named the Peacekeeper. That's so good. And they would follow the Grateful Dead around during their tour. I like how, of course, the Yellow Deli is formed on dead heads, basically. They welcomed anyone aboard the bus and offered medical assistance to those that were lost, drunk, or simply interested in seeing the impressive vehicle. Me. I'd be that. I'd be all of those. I'd be lost, drunk. I'd be like, oh my god, can I see? Can I check it out? Yeah, they just immediately shut the door. No! Of course, the real reason for this was to preach the gospel and gather new members that would drive directly to the commune after convincing them to join. Take a seat, buddy. Welcome to the family. They would purposely prey on drug addicts and homeless people who were easier to persuade. Of course you would, dude. Free labor? Come on. And they're getting free meals. They're like, I'm happy to work for it. You know what I mean? It's f***ed up. But Yonek, aka Eugene Spriggs Jr., died in 2021 at the ripe old age of 83. His cult still operates perfectly fine without him as they continue to grow with over 3,000 members. That's got to be more than Scientology.
No, Scientology's...
Really? I thought Scientology was diminishing.
Oh, well, maybe they were lying about the numbers.
Well, what's his number? Was I off? I was probably off. And yes, the Yellow Deli is still around. In fact, there's one location just a few hours from me. I might just have to go down there and investigate it myself. Try some of that delicious food. See if I can't get around to the back, dude. The thing is, if I wore spy glasses, it'd be so obvious. Could you preach the gospel to me, please? Could I have a rod? There's a kid outside who skateboarded over me. But for now, that is the terror of the Yellow Deli cult. They're the 12 tribes cult, basically. It's fucking crazy that this thing's even real. I had no idea that this was even a thing, and I'm glad to see it blowing up. I'm curious to see where it'll be moving forward. Will this even be affected? Will people even care? Maybe the food's too good, Nick. I just get my meatball sub and I leave. Who knows? Should we go down and check it out? Let us know in the comments. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.